Brands Hatch, which has got to be one of, if not the best circuit in the world.
It's certainly up there, Duncan. It's a roller coaster of a circuit with some corners that only the most fearless of racers can take on without losing their nerve.
I might try and sneak a quick lap myself after today's event. And what an event we had for you today.
What an event indeed, Duncan. But immediately these shots highlight a problem with retrofitting VR support to a game. I don't want the camera angles to keep switching like this and floating around by themselves. I want to be standing still, so I can soak in the atmosphere, looking where I want to, tracking that helicopter from one view. But that's a minor point. Let's get to the driving. One of the main reasons why I'm a bit surprised that Autosport is receiving the VR treatment is that the game doesn't have the best cockpit view. The interiors have limited geometry and low resolution textures, and Codemasters disguise this by applying a depth of field effect to keep it out of focus. As you can see, they've sensibly disabled the effect for VR, as that would feel like you've developed long-sightedness. The game also seems to have exaggerated contrast, and it gives the visuals quite a distinctive look, but I think it's partly done to keep the interiors very dark, also to hide the lack of detail. In an open car like this Atom, there is at least some detail, and the model isn't too bad. On the technical side of things, the VR implementation is very solid. There's time warp, low persistence, aberration correction, and the tracking and responsiveness seems excellent. But there's something strange about driving this game in virtual reality, because let's be honest, the physics are pretty questionable. The cars rotate in such an unnatural way as they pitch into corners more like boats or hovercrafts.
Boss, onto lap 2. You're keeping up with the pace.
If it was a pure fantasy arcade game, it would probably be alright, but when it feels like you're sitting in a real car on a real track, this unrealistic handling model doesn't match up. My eyes are telling me I'm sitting in an aerial Atom at Brands Hatch, but the lighting and dark shadows, combined with the strange handling, make it seem like Brands Hatch in an alternate universe, where perhaps the Earth has slightly different gravity, and the sun looks a bit more apocalyptic. But if you can get over that feeling, just being in a VR environment is hugely entertaining as always. I have to give them credit for making the mirrors reflect in 3D. A lot of VR implementations have the mirrors looking like flat screens, but you can see here as I change my head position, the view in the mirror is changing, but for some reason the actual reflection has such heavy contrast that I can only see a silhouette, so they're unusable anyway. But the important thing is the actual VR is very good, and I hope it means that F1 2014 will see the same support patched in, as that is slightly more realistic and probably a bit more suitable for the technology. And it should mean that we'll see great VR support in all future Codemasters titles.